We don't really talk about how strange it feels to miss a version of yourself that you fought so hard to outgrow. It's like we think that we're supposed to feel freedom right away. We're supposed to get that immediate gratification, a reason to celebrate because we're starting fresh, right? But growth starts with grief. And I mean real grief. And it's not because you're backpedaling or going backwards. It's because you're finally shedding the layers that you believed once kept you safe. And those layers, they just don't fit you anymore. Let's talk about it. It's hard losing parts of you that you spent years growing into. You spent years building that version of yourself. And maybe they were built out of survival. Maybe they were built and shaped by what you thought was love. Or maybe they came out of you being what everyone else needed you to be. So when that version of yourself starts slipping away, it doesn't just feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable. It feels like a loss. Like you've lost a part of your home. And like you're betraying the person who helped get you this far. And even if you know that you're growing, it still hurts. Because deep down, you know that that old version of you, they did their job. They got you to where you are now. They got you here. And honoring your growth means honoring that old part of you as well. For me, I'm grieving the old me who was married and in a long-term relationship. I'm grieving the young woman who tried her best to make it all work. Not just for herself, but for everyone around her. I'm grieving the version of me who wanted her relationship to become what it appeared to be on the outside. I'm grieving the version of me who shrunk herself in order to feel accepted and loved by people who already loved me. I'm grieving the version of me who considered everyone else in every move that I made. And things as simple as coming home from work and checking to see if anyone wanted something to eat from where I was stopping on my way home. And still going out of my way to go someplace else that they preferred, especially if it was me getting tacos from Jack in the Box. The thing would always be like, who eats tacos from Jack in the Box? Yours truly. Now that I moved back, that is one of the things that I miss most about California. And I just got an idea in my head, like, that maybe I should make a video about all the things that I miss about California. I'm sure you could think about one. If you watch some of my old videos back in the day, you can see where I slick wanted my content to go, but now times have changed, location has changed, laws are not the same. Anyway, back to the story at hand. Sorry, we gotta stop getting so distracted. Oh yes, I was talking about grieving the part of me that was, in that relationship. And that part of me was so codependent. Not only was she codependent, that version of me was so concerned with being everything for everybody else except for herself. And I don't judge her. I just can't be her anymore. Now, some versions of you you're gonna miss, even though you know that they weren't healthy. Like the one who stayed quiet just to keep the peace. Or the one who overgave and was a constant people pleaser. What about the old version of you who didn't speak up? Those versions of you weren't weak. They were just surviving. And just because you're letting them go doesn't mean that you can't still love those old parts of yourself. Doesn't mean you can't miss them. Grieving doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that you're healing. It means that you've grown enough to know that that old you back then was just doing the best that they could with what they had. But now you know better. And that's where the shift begins. When I find myself doing these things again at work, like putting everyone else's needs above my own, it triggers this deja vu feeling, like Haven't we already lived this lesson? And why are we repeating it? But I've said this before on my channel. Growth isn't linear. It does not happen within a straight line. Sometimes it's catching the pattern sooner or forgiving yourself faster. It's choosing you anyway. That's the work I'm doing right now. The quiet, repetitive, annoying healing that nobody claps for, but it still matters. I'm mourning unhealthy versions of myself that was a constant people pleaser, especially in the work environment. I always want to be impressive and be someone who can get it done. But as you can see in some of my recent videos regarding my career choices, I cannot, the more that I was people pleasing, the more that I was making myself available. Yeah, like even in the workplace, not like available for relationships, but like available to other people. That's when all that overwhelmingness, like that's when I was just like, because I kind of created an environment to where people felt like they had access to me all the time, to the point where I had to start communicating and putting my foot down and saying, hey, I need support. And finding the voice to advocate for self is part of that process of the growth. And sometimes you might slip and go back to an old habit because you're still learning that you're no longer in survival mode and that you got this. But that's part of breaking the cycle. Cycle goes in a circle. The way that I see it is, when you start to go back in that cycle, if you can stop yourself in a certain segment, we didn't go all the way around, we were able to stop it at this point. That is how we start to begin to break the cycle. Because again, growth does not happen in a straight line. And just one more example was when I said in the last video how I wasn't proud that I ended up having a panic attack or an anxiety attack at work, and how I ended up beating myself up about it when I got home, even though I shouldn't have. In that moment, in order to move on from that event that took place, I had to learn how to forgive myself faster. I had to learn how to say, come on, Tyree, you deserve a break. You deserve a moment to figure your stuff out. Stop being so hard on yourself. Get back up. Let's try it again. Sometimes I swear it's like, they're like, let's ride around Tyree with our sirens on. She trying to make a video. Like I was trying to say before the sirens got me distracted. One of the hardest parts about growing isn't what you have to let go of. It's who you're left with afterwards. You don't fully like the old you anymore, but you're not quite sure who you're actually becoming either. You're in this weird in-between space where everything feels unfamiliar. Like your own habits, your own thoughts, and the way that you're showing up for people. You're like, who is this person? You try to trust the process and trust that something new is forming. But some days it just feels like you're floating. You're not lost, but you're not fully found either. It's uncomfortable and it's quiet. But I've come to realize that space isn't a setback. It's where you start building the version of you that's rooted in truth and not survival. Look, stop thinking that you're a broken person just because you miss the old you. You're being honest. You're feeling what's real. And that's what makes this part so hard. You're not just becoming anymore. You're now remembering. You're actually reconnecting with the version of you who never needed to earn their worth. Growth doesn't always look like glow ups and fresh starts. Sometimes it actually looks like crying over the past and still choosing not to go back. So if today feels heavy for you, you're allowed to mourn the person who got you here while still making room to step into the new version of yourself. That grief you're feeling means that you've grown. You're no longer abandoning yourself in order to survive. And that's a hard kind of freedom. One that's gonna take time to settle into. So give yourself some grace. Let your tears be a part of your story. And if this video made you feel at least 1% more seen, go ahead, give this video a thumbs up or smash that subscribe button, because you were already going to do that anyway, right? This space, it's for you to breathe, to process, and to be reminded that you're not alone in navigating this weird in-betweenness of figuring out who you're truly meant to become. I'm so grateful you made it here with me today. Thank you for watching and spending this time with me. As always, I'm sending you the greatest love. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Don't you hate when people blast their music and you're just like, what are you even listening to? Like, who would blast that? Who would blast that?